Hello, I'm Craig Summerall. Thanks for joining me again as we continue reading the book Monday Morning Choices. This week we start with choice number 10, the criticism choice. When Ronald Reagan succeeded Edmund G. Brown as governor of California in 1967, Brown told him there is a passage in War and Peace that every new governor with a big majority should tack on his office wall. In the passage, Count Rostov, after weeks as the toast of elegant farewell parties, gallops off in his first cavalry charge and finds real bullets snapping at his ears. "Why, they're shooting at me," he says, "me, whom everyone loves." There's no escaping the fact, whether you're at the head of your class, at the top of your profession, or simply leading the charge, your success will inevitably breed criticism. The higher people go in their fields, the more susceptible they are to criticism, even if they feel like that, like Count Rostov, are loved by everybody and are doing the right thing. It's lonely at the top. There's no escaping the fact that success breeds criticism. So what is criticism really? It's generally thought of as disapproval or judgment that underscores faults or shortcomings. But I want you to think of criticism in a positive light too. You've probably never met anyone who didn't want to be liked, respected, and accepted. In a perfect world, we would expect everyone to agree with our ideas, and we would want our actions to be praised as the best ever. But the reality is that we will have critics, and having critics is good. Our choice is about what we do with criticism that comes our way. From an early age, we are trained to be critical. Think about your first grade teacher, the one who wanted you to write a little larger, the one who asked you to read a little louder in reading group, or the one who asked you if you would just keep your hands to yourself on the way to the water fountain. That was criticism, very gentle but firm nonetheless. By the time we were in middle school, the criticism was coming not only from our teachers and parents, but also from our peers and perhaps others who didn't even know us. One old bullfrog. One warning: don't overreact to criticism. While those who are critical may be vocal, they may be alone in their criticism. There is a story about an old farmer who advertised his frog farm for sale. The farm, he claimed, had a pond filled to the brim with fine bullfrogs. When a prospective buyer appeared, the old farmer asked him to return that evening so he might hear the frogs in full voice. When the buyer returned, he was favorably impressed by the symphony of magical melodies emanating from the pond, and he signed a bill of sale on the spot. A few weeks later, the new owner decided to drain the pond so he could catch and market the plentiful supply of frogs. But to his amazement, when the water was drained from the pond, he found all the noise had been made by one old bullfrog. The same may also be said about criticism in an organization. Usually, the most noise is made by only one old bullfrog. Choosing to embrace criticism. So why would we want to choose criticism? Don't we already have enough on our plates without having to make room for naysayers? Ultimately, we all need criticism, no matter how successful we become. Criticism whips our fragmental attention into laser focus in some of the more important aspects of our jobs and our lives. Some call criticism a teaching tool. More specifically, it is a learning tool that teaches us hard lessons. Contrary to what many people think, criticism isn't always negative. In fact, in many forms, criticism is a positive, necessary part of growth. If we examine our own criticism of others, we'll discover that we use our own narrow standards to judge others, from spouses to houses. Obviously, for criticism to be meaningful, the better path is to be more flexible and less judgmental when we look at others and their actions. Just because we wouldn't have done it the same way doesn't mean another's approach doesn't have merit, and perhaps more merit than our own approach. The healthy approach to criticism is to pay attention to it. Always listen with the intent to understand why the criticism is being levied at you and why the critic may want you to know his or her feelings. You may not believe it, but there's an upside to criticism too. Criticism from the right people could lead to improvement. Thanks for watching, and here's to a great week.